And 3, 2, 1, boom. And we're back with another episode of Socratic Gamers. Before we begin this podcast, I'd like to apologize for if I sound really stuffy. Allergies got me.
Okay.
It's pretty intense.
It's what is it? Hay fever? What is it? I don't know what that is.
Hay fever?
I don't know. Oh, no.
Maybe it's hay fever. I don't know. Is that like a thing? Is like hay fever a thing?
I don't even know what that is.
All right. So this is your Socratic Dialogue where we talk about one cool thing that we thought from the week. No, that was my old intro.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This is just Socratic Dialogue. We just talk. It's the allergies.
Okay.
Getting me. I'm like so confused.
Oh, it's.
I'm in a delirium right now, but we're pulling through to give you a podcast. Anyways, so we're gonna talk about one of the things that is near and dear to me and Vish's heart.
Okay.
And many of our friends. It's gaming.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
So basically, we came up around the time of when gaming, like, I guess no, technically we weren't born when the first video game came out, which was like Atari and stuff.
Yeah. Right.
But like we were in the apex of our, like, when gaming was like getting huge.
Yeah.
Like with the internet and stuff, right?
Right.
Like it started to really come into its own.
Mm-hmm.
And like we all became like super obsessed. That's when like PlayStation came out with PlayStation and like
Nintendo.
like what would you call those?
Consoles?
Like they're consoles, but like the originals were consoles too. Like Atari was a console, but it's like they're like game changers. I don't know how to explain it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's when the revolution happened.
Okay. Yeah.
Like one could say like, oh, Super Nintendo was a revolution.
Right.
But like when you went from like compact discs to, no, compact discs are CDs. When you went from like those like cartridges, thank you.
Yeah.
From cartridges to CDs, that's when like the game completely changed, because like you were able to hold way more data.
Yeah.
I should really buy that book, Console Wars. I saw it a long time ago. I should read it. But it's basically about like, I think it's Sega. Like how like it changed the game.
Was Sega that's the one that started that? Like they had a
CDs. They had Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
No, I think it was PlayStation was the first one.
Okay.
I'm pretty
like
sure
there was something important with what Sega did too that may have changed it, but it just wouldn't.
It could have been like a business deal kind of thing.
Okay, gotcha. Makes sense.
But anyways, so yeah, we were there in the prime when like video games came out through CDs, and then like everything exploded from there, right?
Yeah.
But it was funny because like it's funny because like you have this different mentality when you grow up with video games and like computers and stuff.
Yeah.
That you just don't have, I would say, now, because now you're kind of like just born into it, so you just kind of get how it works.
Yeah, I mean now it's everywhere, right? Like now, before you had to buy a console or a PC, right? Make a PC or something before.
Yeah, totally.
But now it's like, everyone has a smartphone, and on that.
Exactly. Whereas like when you're like going through the phase of like, how does this thing work? There are so many difficulties that you have to like go through. Like I remember I had a computer, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have a console.
Okay.
So like I really liked the Spawn game. We went to like the stores and like we'd rent things because like I did have like Sega, like the old Sega with the cartridges.
Yeah.
But like I didn't have like PlayStation with the CDs or like Dreamcast with CDs.
Right.
And like we went to the rental store and I saw the Spawn game and I was like, hey Mom, like, can you get me this game?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think she like bought it for me, or she rented it for me. I think she might have bought it for me. And like it wouldn't work on my computer, but I couldn't understand. It was like CD.
I remember that. I remember those things. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that you started to learn like, oh no, different code works for different things.
Or you don't have the graphics card that you need. Like
No, it was a PlayStation CD.
Oh,
or like a Sega Dreamcast CD.
You bought like something that was okay.
For a console.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying? And that's when you had to learn like, oh no, coding works differently.
Yeah.
For me as a kid, I was like, okay, CD is a CD, right? Isn't it gonna work?
right.
And then you start to realize like, oh no, other things, and like that's when like things like burning discs got really important, like Dragon Center.
Mm-hmm.
You'd buy like, you'd like get your PlayStation modded.
Oh,
then,
right, right.
and then you just like instead of
Which
paying
is
like
illegal, but
it's illegal. Allegedly, this happened.
well, I mean, you could do anything with it, but it's to get the games that was illegal for free,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like.
I guess.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, sure. Yeah, technically, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just modding it. Doesn't mean that. But anyway, so like
Yeah.
I remember, like, and then like this is when the pirate eras came, when like you get the PlayStation and you're like, I can mod it, and then I'll just get like games for like $10 instead of like $80.
Right.
You know, and then you can get like Japanese games too.
Yeah.
Like that. Those are the times. Those are like the epic periods of like gaming, like where pirates were just like everywhere. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah, but like I think it's interesting to see now the evolution in gaming, and like one of the first real games that we ever played online was StarCraft, which is a computer
Yeah,
game.
I didn't play. Like I got into games quite late in some way, but like
Yeah.
I was around people that were playing. Yeah.
Well, you did have like computer games. You were like into your like.
I wasn't.
racing
Yeah, I
games.
was the only one that wasn't that had the PC games first. Like, and then you guys are all on console,
And it
then
was
I
so-
saw like the lack, or like I saw the benefits of console, and eventually ended up getting one. Like, but like now, what I see now is the PC coming back.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I mean the money's still in consoles because you can get more new people into it. But if you once you become hardcore gamer, you end up wanting to play on PC.
Yeah, true. Actually, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like you. So that was one of the things I was gonna say. Like,
Mm.
even though I had PlayStation and like, I always got like the systems first. Like,
Right.
I don't. It was just like a thing. I guess like it started with my like family because my uncle was really into like Game Boy games, and then my dad just like showed up with a Sega one day, and like they'd always buy the newest console for me. Just one of them though. You'd have to choose either PlayStation or Xbox. You know what I mean? Like couldn't get both.
Yeah,
and that was the
yeah.
worst because it's like $500, right? Like for a console.
Yeah.
Like almost $1,000. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was expensive then. Yeah.
And that doesn't even include like the peripherals, like a
Right.
controller.
Right.
You know, so like it was always like just buy one. So you always had to make that big decision of like, all right, I'm like, but then in high school, it was like, it was just interesting because like Xbox is always seen as like the Caucasian system, whereas like PlayStation was the Asian system.
Right. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always bought the Xbox because like, you know, our old friends were into like what was
Right.
the game, like football, you know, Halo. Like, but for me, like Halo was like seminal. Like that was like the greatest online game ever.
Right. Right.
It like paved the way for all this stuff like we're playing right now, Call of Duty, and like, you know, like even Biohazard right now. It's like-
BioShock.
Bioshock, yeah. So like, yeah. So I'm like not sad that I got the Xbox, but like I did miss out on like a lot of role playing games,
Right.
which like I'm obsessed with now. You know, as opposed to like first person shooters, because it's like you play the match and you're kind of over. You know what I mean?
Right.
But simultaneously, like going back to like the first online game we ever played was like StarCraft, and like those were match driven. You know,
Right.
and the game's still going right now. Like they still have like StarCraft tournaments, stuff like that.
Oh yeah. So like now the like
Wait, quick pause.
Okay.
I totally went off track there. Sorry, I was gonna say that even though I got PlayStation, I noticed that your graphics were better on Midtown Madness, and that's where I started to be like, oh,
Oh,
maybe-
really?
Yeah. Like Midtown Madness had like we were still at polygons for PlayStation.
Oh,
Think
right,
about Final
right,
Fantasy VII,
right,
right?
right.
Polygons.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
like yours is like realistic cars. It was like, whoa, this is new.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to
And
that.
that's
I guess.
but the only thing that drew me back was I was like, okay, first of all, like the PC's clunky, and also the controller, it's like I don't want to use a keyboard,
Right.
you know. But like now, like
Yeah.
all the top gamers use keyboards.
Yeah, I mean now.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I mean if you go into esports, it's like it's all about.
Actually, wait, hold on. Counter-Strike was actually before. There's Quake, Counter-Strike that led the
Oh,
way
right.
for Halo.
Yeah, Quake. Well, see, there was another one that Unreal Tournament.
Oh yeah.
That was like really really fast paced. I could not.
I love that game actually.
I could not like keep up with that one.
I think it was.
I don't
think it
know.
was the creators of Quake.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same engine.
Okay, okay.
Quake was so fast too. Oh my god, that's like nuts.
It's back. Like Quake. Quake is back. Is it Quake? Yeah. Like something is that was like big in the day now is Doom.
Doom, yeah, Doom.
Doom
That's
is
classic
back.
though.
Doom is back.
Oh really?
Actually, yeah. They had it like there was a couple years ago. There was a new game. It was really good.
Oh okay.
Yeah. So
Like a new version or like
yeah,
everyone's
for the
playing
new
old?
console.
Oh okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. But yeah, so like it was interesting that we. Sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, I'm just saying like now, like these games are going toward like E3. Yeah, no E3, no esports. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the fascinating thing.
Yeah.
Like you have like in South Korea, like if you watch that Vice, that like web Vice documentary, and then they show you like how esports is like taking over. They took over like a soccer stadium,
Yeah.
and then they just converted to an esports stadium. That was awesome. You know, like the prevalence of like video games. It's like this is really where we're going.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
My cousin who lived in the Philippines for a long time, he would say that like these rich hotel owners,
Yeah.
they would sponsor a team, and then you would live in the hotel, and then you and your team would like become really good at like League of Legends or something.
Yeah.
Or like StarCraft is another one, and then they would send you on like StarCraft tourneys.
Yeah.
And then your team would verse other teams, but like that was just something unheard of in the West, you know. But it was like,
Yeah,
the
it
East
did
was,
start
like,
in it
always
did
doing
start
that.
in Asia. These the esports stuff, but
But I think that was out of necessity though, because like nobody could afford a console down there or a computer, and then internet was a big thing. Whereas like here, we could
Yeah.
save up, buy a computer, buy a like high speed internet. So like for us, it was a lot more individualistic. Whereas there, it's like the prevalence of gaming hubs,
Yeah.
like those internet cafes
Yeah.
are huge. Like my cousin in the Philippines, he like owned one. He owns one still, actually, I think.
oh okay.
Yeah, like a little. It's just computers, and
Yeah,
then like you
yeah.
just pay for your time. And then even in our area, because like a lot of foreigners are coming now. Like it's interesting where we live because it's like such a hub for like Asian people to come, especially South Koreans, and like all of the new spaces that are being built in our area are like esports places. It was weird.
Really?
Yeah, like the gaming.
Oh, here,
down
yeah.
the- here,
Yeah,
only
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really seen it everywhere, but like in this one pocket of where we live, it's like there's
There's-
like
I mean-
3 or 4 of them.
Right. Well, these are
That
very
opened
like
up in succession.
yeah.
too.
We're like in a mini Korea place, right? So
Yeah.
like in Korea, there's a ton of these kinds of places,
Totally, yeah.
right? So I can see the use for that, like or the need for that here. But what I was trying to get to was like just like how big esports has gotten,
Right. Okay.
right? Like it started kind of small, right?
Uh-huh.
And then now like the viewership wise I guess it started in 2012 or something like a small amount of viewership. Now it's encroaching on like it's beating, well not yet beating NFL
No.
final like
What?
in the like,
It's that big?
so like in yeah so by this year or by next year they will be they're ahead of all of US baseball, hockey, all these things, but and then even in soccer and stuff like that. It just I think for American numbers, right? But like NFL is the biggest one right still, maybe for another 2 years,
Wow.
and then they will take over.
But that's like aggregate
NFL as
numbers
well.
from the world, right?
Yeah,
So that makes sense because Asia's got a bigger population than the West.
yeah. But now like they're making like the same arenas where you watch basketball. They're making them.
Oh, really? Wow.
Esports in America. Yeah.
In America?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In America. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, it's interesting that like where we're going, it's almost like those shows. Like what was that robot one where like Hugh Jackman was in it?
A robot one?
Yeah, he had like his like friend that he was like. It was almost like what was it called? That it was like that show Metabots. It was like Metabots.
Okay.
Remember that one where he pieced together his robot and then like he'd
Yeah.
use it to fight and they just fight in the ring.
I think.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh
Like,
yes. Yeah.
and then he would like train and stuff. That's kind of like where we're headed now. Like you actually like the shows of like Metabots where like you would build your own and then like you'd fight. I remember they tried doing that like Robot Warriors or something like that on the Comedy Network, but like it never panned out. But like this is kind of really what we're doing now. We're having like these esports things and like obviously you still have like your like traditionals like your football, basketball. You know, MMA is really big, but like it's cool to see esports making a resurgence. I feel like esports is more because of its like nerdy outcast nature, it's more accepting.
Yeah.
You're gonna see more like weirdos at it for sure, but you're not gonna see like rude people at it.
Right.
You know, like when we went to Comic-Con, it'll probably be like that feel.
Yeah, I think it is. It is. It's like they're saying here by 2020, 250 million people around the world will be watching live and online,
Wow.
and 11 billion hours of esports will be watched
Wow.
globally.
Is that all on Twitch or where are they gonna play that?
It could be Twitch, YouTube, yeah, things like that. There's more than Twitch now out there, right? Like Mixer. Which is Microsoft's one.
But you know what? I feel like it's like flux and flow, man. Like how people are like freaking about, like, oh no, people are just going to spend more time inside. I think we're going to hit a point where we're like, no, we need to go back outside. And then it's going to switch back to like, let's take a pause on video games. And then people are like, oh, we're spending too much time outside. Let's go back indoors. Like this new game came out. It's just like a constant like wave motion, you know, like a sine wave in mathematics, like up and down.
Right.
You know, and like that's why I don't really get caught up in like is it bad or is it good. It's just like we were in that transitional phase and then like it'll 100% transition back like when people are just like super unhealthy and like whatever, and then like okay, we'll go back outside, you know, and then like oh, it's kind of boring outside, there's this new console, all right, cool, let's jump back inside. You know, like I don't fear the change.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I just think it's like where we're at.
Yeah.
As you're saying.
Yeah, no. So it'll take over 10% of U.S. sports viewing.
That's still pretty small.
By 2020, though, I mean, in a field that everybody views, like it's still not normal. Like it's in the general public, but like it's to be 10% is huge.
That'll be an interesting world to live in, like just to see like people with like esports jerseys on. That'd be sick, bro. Could you imagine that? Like, whoa.
Right. Yeah.
And then it all started from like things like StarCraft. We will have been a lot. It's like interesting that like the future generation will have been born and they'll be like, oh, esports is a thing, but like we literally grew up in the time when it's like we got to watch esports become a thing.
Right. No, yeah.
Like
I mean,
StarCraft. It's literally you're just watching us play StarCraft, which we used to do. We used to do that though.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, it's interesting how huge it is. Like there's actually like fandom and stuff, right? That happens. Like you get to know the players. I'm still not even into that. Like I watch because it's you know you're seeing like how professionals play. Like so it became huge a couple years ago. Also, is because of Overwatch. Remember, I used to play Overwatch a ton, and then esports also like that. Like it depends. Certain games added on more and more popularity to it, right? And then now there's Fortnite. Like there's so many different games that you can go specify in, and that becomes huge. And I mean, Counter-Strike, it's still there.
Right.
People are still playing that in the esports game. So it's like even the old ones are coming back. Halo, they have those tournaments too. So there's so many different kinds, so many different teams out there, and you're facing people from around the world. So like it's interesting to see.
For sure, and it's interesting that like people actually derived a career off of these things. You know, like we'd watch like Ghost Robo, Nation. I've never watched Kaz, but I heard he's like the number one.
No, I never watched him either.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting. Like we actually know who these people are, and like I don't feel like. I feel like it's like niches. You know, I don't like these pockets. Like one thing that they said in like high tech marketing was like the internet will start to provide like different marketplaces for different people, and that's what that's what the beauty of the internet is. Like I don't think we're gonna lose our like basketball fans or like rock climbing
No, no, no,
fans.
no,
Like,
no, no.
you know, it's just like, no, you're gonna have another avenue from which to like
I mean,
consume media.
yeah, exactly. And this is just all good for merchandising and
Commerce in general.
commerce.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah. It's interesting too, like with these, like it's funny, like thinking about it now with like these like sports, what do you call this? Like these sports like idols.
Yeah.
Being like esports idols, like Ammunition, Ghost Robo, and then we even saw a little bit of that like as we were growing up, like little side interesting tidbit, rest in peace, C-Spook, but like him being so good at,
Yeah.
like our friend that passed away,
Yeah.
and like it's coincidentally where I took the name off of, out of, you know, I always thought that name was dope, but like him being so good at the game was like, dude, you were like our first esports idol.
Right.
Like, remember he used to take on like everyone versus me?
Yeah.
And he would kill all of us.
Yeah, he would.
And we're like, what the hell? And then we're like, yo, what did you set your freaking sensitivity to? And he's like, maximum. And you're like, how are you playing at maximum? You know what I mean? Like, it's things like that. And like, and seeing how like this, like, not to get into his life, but like if things had turned in a different way, or he like waited just a little bit longer, is like, he would have had a whole avenue from which to like pursue a career off of.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's interesting to see that parallel. You know, whereas like people would be like, oh, you're just wasting your life playing video games, but it's like, no, this is actually a viable career now.
Right.
But again, to keep everything into perspective, it's just like basketball. It's like if you're playing basketball outside all the time, it's like you're wasting your life on basketball. No, it's a viable career.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
or
Now
you're like a fighter. It's like you're wasting your life on martial arts. No, it's a viable career. It's like, no, video games are just a viable career now. The 1% of you are going to make it to the elite of the elite, but it is a new avenue from which to approach.
Yeah.
You know, and I find that really interesting.
Yeah. I got these numbers for revenue numbers total for 2019. Were they expecting 1.1 billion?
Wow.
Revenue.
Just from that alone.
Esports.
Oh, aggregately worldwide?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's like, I mean, we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars, and
But we're
in
talking
terms of
about a
other
thing
things.
that only was here like 10 years ago.
Totally.
Oh,
yeah,
less
okay.
than that.
I'll admit, yeah, you're right.
Less than that.
It's still a small drop in the ocean, but like, it's interesting to see the shifting change. But again, it's sort of like the way we're looking at esports is kind of like the way that people were looking at UFC back in the day when it was 93 and the first UFC came out, and they're like, oh, I don't know if this is actually going to hit, and now it's like becoming this global phenomenon. It's just like esports.
So they're expecting it's about 26% year over year increase.
26%.
Yeah.
Each year.
Yeah.
On top of what it was.
Like that's the growth rate.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's for something that's very recent, right? So, a lot of them is coming from Asia, right? Most of them.
Makes sense, yeah. Totally.
Which is, totally makes sense. But it is growing here too in North America, and other parts. Like it's interesting to watch. I gotta say.
We're in such like a digital revolution now that's like we don't even know where it's all gonna go. It's like the Skrillex thing that we were talking about.
Yeah.
How like Joe Rogan's been talking about Jimi Hendrix a lot, so I was like, okay, let me check out Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
And then like listening to his music, and then them saying like no guitar's ever been like guitar changed completely because nobody's ever played the guitar like Jimi Hendrix has played it.
Right.
And I was listening to it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like some revolutionary stuff. Like obviously compared to what they play now, it's like, no, this is like pretty regular. Like I've seen crazier stuff.
Yeah.
But like the fact that everyone was playing guitar like countryish, you know, very like soothing, and then he like used a lot of like effects on it, like wah-wahs and stuff. And then like to see that, so that was like the start of the technological revolution as well. You got to see it there because it's like, okay, I'm going to use these effects boards to affect the guitar. Something that was very analog became digital.
You're right.
You know, I'm going to run effects through it, and now it's going to change. And then then you saw like screamo bands.
Yeah.
You know, like how like these screamo bands, they would like play their instruments and they would scream and stuff. Like little did most people know, Skrillex was actually an emo pop star.
Right.
You know, like when he was 14, he was touring the world off of From First to Last, which is like an emo band. And then he went to Europe, and then and I think something happened with his vocal cords because he was smoking, so he like took some time off. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Because I mean, that hurt. If you're screaming all the time, it's gonna mess up your throat. So like he took some time off. I think he had like a vocal surgery. So then he went to Europe, and then that's where he heard of like electronic music.
Okay.
But then if you listen to like post-hardcore emo stuff, and then you listen to Skrillex's music, it's like they're the exact same thing. He just learned how to scream through his technology than through his voice.
Okay.
They're using the same like tones and like all that stuff. And like there's the evolution again. You're seeing everything move towards digital. You know, but it's becoming more of like an accepting playing field. So it's sort of like the esports, right? So it's like you only get the top athletes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And it's like a very jock mentality, right? Very like separatist, right? It's like you're a jock, you're not. So like all the jocks play sports, right? And then esports is like even jocks can play esports. You know, you see like certain people play like Snoop Dogg is a big advocate of video games. Logic is a big advocate of video games. He'll bring like Wii onto stage and play. You know, like 50 Cent.
Was it?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
All these UFC fighters are advocates of video games, so it's like it's an even playing field. So like if you look at Skrillex, like Screamo was very separatist as well. It's like, oh, you're wearing like girl pants and like dyeing your hair black and like cutting it, you know, weird. But then like he went to Europe, and then he's like using electronics to take the same energy of Screamo and then play it to the masses. And now Skrillex is like working with like Justin Bieber, reggae bands, and all that stuff. It's like because digital is the even playing field.
Okay.
And that's how I'm seeing like digital emerge.
Right.
You know, it's becoming like the great equalizer. You know?
Oh, interesting. I mean, yeah, like anyone can get into this.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Except for people in like Asia. That's why they created those like internet cafes and stuff. Like obviously it costs money to do this, but like no, now you have like people making beats in their basement and then getting like famous. Like who's like Drake's beat maker. It's just like he was just making beats for Drake on the side, you know?
Right.
Like anybody, like oh, I forgot. I like follow all these like beat people because they're so fascinating to me. Like they're just making beats off their computer, like the NPC, the NPC era. You know, you don't need like a whole setup of like music anymore. You just need your NPC and a laptop.
Right.
You know, and then you're just like recording, or a good example is like the movie We Are Your Friends, and he would just be recording. You ever hear that? Zac Efron?
Yeah.
So like he would just like record little sound bites on his iPhone, and then he'd put them together and he'd make beats off of them. Right. And that's the future. And like you don't need like a drum and a keyboard and like well, you need a keyboard, but you don't need like drums, bass, guitar. You just need like a keyboard and a laptop. Again, great unifier. You know, it's like anybody can get into it, and like all these like I'm trying to figure out his name. Arab Music.
Okay.
Arab Music.
Oh,
love that guy. He was really inspirational because when you watch him, so like the thing that made Arab Music really good is that he learned how to play. Whereas people were making beats, like they were like tuning it up and all that, he would do like NPC battles. So it's sort of like rap battles, but you'd come there with your NPC and like your laptop and you'd battle beat for beat on the spot though. Oh. So it's not like you're like recording and then playing it, like which Skrillex does, which is still cool. I mean, like you pre-record it and then you just play it at the live show, whatever. But like he's like playing the beat on stage, you know.
Interesting.
And it's like, again, opening up new markets. Like who would have thought that was possible? You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
That's why I think digital is like the great unifier, and that's why I'm like such a huge advocate for it.
Yeah, but it's that's true, but it's very interesting to like watch the latest, the Hassan Minaj Patriot Act on Netflix, and there's how much people don't have access to internet.
It totally.
So that's like 100%. like I'm talking about in America, not
in America.
inside America itself. Like the cities are covered, right? But like all inland America, a lot of that population does not have like good access to internet or fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating.
Like he mentions in the thing that he remember the Netflix used to be a DVD rental thing.
Yeah.
They still do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I mean,
I knew
so
that.
there's like areas that they can't get access to that internet. So
Yeah. Just like the
the
Blockbuster
Netflix
in Alaska.
DVD thing is still going on. Yeah.
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 Totally, yeah.
So like, I think we have to hit those kinds of points too. It will grow like as internet access becomes more and more prevalent around the world, right?
For sure.
So, but that's also growing pretty quick, I would say.
But irregardless, it's still evening the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, to me, like, I don't think you can escape it. I think it's just what we're going through. I got sent this this little it was like a little trolling image where this guy was like, he's like, he wasn't doing it out of hate. Like we've worked together in the past. Like he was just trolling me because you know,
Okay.
we have that kind of relationship. And like he sent me like, what if Facebook and IG stopped working? You wouldn't be an advocate anymore. And I was like, that's funny because he probably used Facebook and IG to get that message out there. You know what I mean? It's like the kettle calling the pot calling the kettle black kind of thing. It's like you're using it and
Right.
you're crapping on it. You know?
Yeah.
That's why I'm always like, no, I love marketing. You know, because I'm using marketing. Even though it's evil, but it's like, how do you want to use it?
Right.
You know, it's just a thing. It's like how people are like against drugs. It's like, no, the drug's not doing anything. It's like your attachment to the drug.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
you could either do dumb things or really great things. You know, people OD on pharmaceuticals all the time. They also OD on like illegal drugs.
Right.
Is it the person or is it the actual substance?
Right.
The substance has no thought. It's us that have the thought.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like digital. It's like, okay, if you don't want to partake in it, don't partake in it.
True.
You know, but it doesn't take away the fact that this is where it's going. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but what worries me though is people who like completely stave off like internet. You know, like, oh, I don't want to, like the people that are like super resistant to it. I kind of like, I'm honestly thinking like, where are you going to be in the future? I don't know. Like if you're not online, you're not real kind of thing.
Right.
You are real, like physically real, but it's like there are certain like job applications require LinkedIn.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
there are certain things that still require social media. So it's like, why are you going to begrudge it? Just be smart about it.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
you should
Like-
use all the tools available to you, right?
Yeah.
That's what that is mainly.
Like everything I post, it's like I'm cognizant of what I'm posting.
Right.
But that's like through personal education of what does this thing do? But I feel like not many like schools don't really educate you properly on how to use it
I
effectively.
mean, generally schools are behind, right?
True.
They teach you of what is now, not necessarily what is the future, right?
True. Or what was, not even what is now.
Yeah. In most cases, sure.
I mean, like maybe different in engineering and stuff, but like, no.
Engineering doesn't really change a lot. It's just the technology that you use. Sometimes those tools will change.
Just having been in school and stuff, it's like it's not like having been through 2 versions of school and like studying it,
Yeah.
all angles. Like maybe it's just like marketing is very like contemporary, so it's like you can't really pin it down because as soon as you start like saying one thing is one way,
Yeah.
it's like it's already old in
Right.
marketing.
Okay.
You know, as soon as you already see somebody doing it, it's already been done. You need to always be like ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so I guess that's why I would say that like school's outdated for educating you on it because you do need it. It's like you can't be in this world in the future and not be on digital. Makes no sense.
Yeah. No.
Like what? Like unless you want to be a cog in the machine. You know, like that makes sense too. Like if you just like want to get like a whatever job and then just like ride it out. You know.
Okay, yeah.
But like, let's say you want to start a business. You need internet. You need to be online.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Let's say you're applying for like pretty high up jobs. You need to be online.
Oh yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
you can't not be online and be in like a CEO position.
No.
Every CEO's got LinkedIn. Like you just need it. because that's how they connect with you. Like other CEOs, it's like it's like, what do they call it, boys club or whatever, and like
Right.
you need to contact these people.
Like it's yeah. I mean, it's a way to get to know you too. Like there's a lot.
Yeah.
Right. If you
Share your ideas, your thoughts. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And you need it really does affect you if you do not have those things.
It really does affect you. It really does.
Yeah.
You know, and then all the people that are like all the celebrities that are like, I'm staving off the internet. Well, it's like easy for you to say, you're already a celebrity. Bro.
Exactly.
You know, it's like you've already made your mark. So it's like you don't even need the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like good example. I love this dude, but like Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I don't really use social media. He's not like, I don't use it because it's bad. He's like, I just don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'd rather just not do something dumb and just not use it than like use it.
Right.
You know.
I see. I see.
But it's like, yeah, easy for you to say. You sell music, bro. You have a marketing team that's already pushing that social media for you. You personally don't use internet, sure, but you're still utilizing the internet in a way to market yourself.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Your interviews that are online that I watch, if those were all deleted, I wouldn't know who you were. If you weren't on Apple Music, I wouldn't know who you were. You know what I'm saying? Like, the future is digital, and we need to embrace it.
Yeah, I think we all should.
And like, but just like understand its place. That's it. You know, like, this is where it's at, and that's fine, you know?
Right.
It would be just as ridiculous as if, like imagine if somebody's like, oh, we're never going to use the printing press again. Like, what? That's how you made books, bro.
Yeah. These tools didn't go away.
Or even back then, reading wasn't a good thing. Remember, like, oh, your head's in the clouds. You're reading too much. Remember?
Yeah.
And then now it's like, you can't read enough, bro.
Now they say it's good to read.
So it's like,
when did that change?
So that's exactly what I mean. It's like flux and flow, bro. It's just know its place. It's like, okay, if you're saying I'm reading too much, maybe I'm just spending an inordinate amount of time doing this thing, which I am quite guilty of. Anybody who knows me, especially in my close relationships, I have an obsession with like online space. But that's, for me, it's like, it's because it's like so innovative. It's so like,
right.
But, you know, again, healthy balance. You need to know when to step away from it and, like, jump back in when it's time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? But that's like all things. Yeah.
It is.
Do not fear the internet. Oh, one final thing before we go, because I thought this was really fascinating. When people complain about... I was going to write an article about this, but I'm like, I might as well just talk about it on the podcast. It's just easier. But... the way people complain about like negativity online. So there's like a thing called retargeting in marketing. So I'm just going to blow everyone's mind. It's called retargeting. So what happens is when you engage in an activity, the platform that you're using via retargeting, that's utilizing retargeting, doesn't know if you like it or you don't like it. It just knows that you're engaging with it. And the more you engage with something, the more likely it is I can sell you an ad, right? This is how marketers think. So it's like, I'm going to send you more hate because that's what you've been engaging with. I assume what you're engaging with is what you want to see. So like if you're dumping negative comments and then you're talking on negative posts and you're like double tapping negativity, of course you're going to see more of that because I'm retargeting that back at you. But like I've never seen negativity online personally. Like I see it, sure, but I just don't scroll past it because I'm like, it's not like something I'm into, so I'm just gonna keep scrolling. So like my entire feed is just positivity, things of inspiration, and I'm like, yeah, just like unfollow negative people or just don't engage, and then you'll just be retargeted positivity. Like if you know how, again, that's a part of the education. If you know how it works, then maybe you can like separate yourself from it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like literally, I just like watch like JRE episodes and like double tap photography and like find inspiring people online, and that's all I'm filled with digitally. That's all I see.
Right.
Because I'm not retargeted negativity. So just stop looking at it and it'll go away. And it'll start retargeting you more positive things. But that's again online education.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, how does it work? What's my role in it? And how do I move forward?
Also, you know, internet is also filled with trolls that just want to try to make people mad.
But even trolls, it's like I don't
have to engage
with trolls.
You don't have to engage.
And then because I don't engage with trolls,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I'm not in it. And they say, like, you know, if it bleeds, it leads. There's like in the movie Nightcrawler. That's a real true thing in public relations. Like you learn that about news media. Like if it bleeds, it does lead. What I find really cool is like that I work for a very positive organization now.
Yeah.
So like I can say this stuff and like it's not like a negative thing because it's like they believe in the same things I believe in, which is like just spreading positivity. You know? So again, it's like where do you choose to work? You know, like do you choose to work in a negative environment or a positive environment? Anyways, so like if it bleeds, it leads. So it's like, yeah, they know how to game the system. The more negativity I spit out there, the more people. If I say like, if somebody's scrolling and they're like, oh, what a nice day it is, right? People are like, oh, it is a nice day. But then like you write like, oh, I hate this race of people. Then somebody's like, dude, why do you hate this race of people? Dude, you shouldn't hate these race of people. They're so like, you know what I mean? Like then you're commenting on it, and that is just feeding the algorithm of retargeting, and then they're like, oh, you must like this because you're commenting on it. So I'm going to send you more hate online. But it's like if you were like, oh, it's a nice day out. Double tap, yeah, it is a nice day, bro. Then it's like, okay, you're only going to get nice day posts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Educate and conquer.
Yeah, or it's like me, you know, I just like to banter in both.
Yeah, but see, like, you know what you're actively engaging in.
Yeah, I know.
Most people don't. They just don't understand how it works. But it's like, this is
That's true.
digital education.
I find it fun.
What, the trolling?
I don't actually comment on anything. I just like to see these. Like when I see these things happen, I just laugh.
Totally, yeah, but you don't get caught up in it.
That's true. Yeah, these are entertainment values for me.
Right, exactly. Whereas like a lot of people self-identify with it.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, that's also like a social narrative that's like burnt into people's brains of like, no, not burnt into people's. It's like our genetics of like being like a good example of what a more tangible example of this of like burgeoning, like with the Raptors winning and stuff. So like one of the experiments that they did in social psychology is they got one person to look up at the building, and they waited to see how long other people would start looking up.
Oh yeah,
and then quickly people started looking up. They're like, "What is going on?
Yeah.
What's going on over there?" But that's just how we're hardwired as a collective species.
Yeah.
So it's like no wonder sports are so important. You know, like no wonder why we get into these in-group, out-group mentalities because it's hardwired in us. If one person's looking at something, but it's not like a negative thing. It was born out of like survival.
Yeah.
You know, if one person's looking at something, you're like, oh, maybe that thing might kill me. I need to look at it. You know?
Yeah. Right. But you know, I mean, yeah, they were used for certain things in the wild, I guess, whatever.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And now, sometimes it's not necessarily like it can be detrimental, and
for sure, yeah.
Right.
Well, if you don't know what it is,
if you don't know what it is, that's true.
Carl Jung says that like we need to go from like the unconscious, which is like we don't know what's going on. Like you're a baby, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you hit like age of like 4 or something, and then you start becoming conscious. You're like, oh, my decisions matter.
Yeah.
You know. And then most people just stop there. And then that's the rest of their lives. They're just like, oh, my decisions matter, and like blah blah blah, and like I'm this thing, I'm, you know, me. That's being conscious. But then to be super conscious is to see beyond yourself, and then you're like, oh, there's a world outside of who I am, and other people's decisions matter too.
Right.
You know, and it's like that's sort of how you have to educate yourself with everything. It's like, okay, what's going on in this world?
Right. Yeah.
And then when you become super educated, just like how I said, like digital educate, like, so you're going to look at the digital world and you're gonna be like, dude, there's so many trolls online. Dude, I don't know. I don't want to be a part of the online space, all that stuff. That's you being conscious. Yeah, you are conscious of it. You're aware. But to be super conscious is like, what's really going on here? And then make your decision.
Right.
It's like, okay, I understand that me not being digital, I'm probably not going to get a job that's super high up because a lot of people need digital. It's just the way the world works, you know? It's like...
Yeah.
Like, it's funny now with, like, you need good guides, right? So, like, I was never a fan of, like, school. Hated it, right? My parents were just like, no, you're going to school. You're going to finish this. You're going to thank me later. And then now I'm, like, actually thanking them because I'm like, oh, this education really is the key.
Right.
I have a good job because of education.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And, like, I have other opportunities because of education. But, like, if we don't have good guides, if we aren't educated properly,
Mm-hmm.
then we're just stuck in the wrong feedback loop.
Right.
That's becoming super conscious.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, this is really how it works.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, education is huge. I think you should have some at least.
But some people, but like we were saying in the last podcast, like the truth is salty.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to come to education like the truth. It's like, this is what it is. How are we going to move forward? Not like, this is what it is. It sucks, or it's great. You know,
Yeah.
just like unbiased, objective observance, and just being like, okay, these are the rules of the game. It's like, I can't fly. I can't levitate. So it's like, why am I going to continuously wish I can levitate?
Right.
You know, it's like, okay, I can't fly. All right, I'm going to walk there then. Or I'm going to build a car. It doesn't mean that you stop trying to achieve that end goal. It's just like, how do we get there?
Yeah.
You know, okay, so I need digital. Okay, how much do I need digital? You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the game of life. That's the balancing act. That's like flowing with life rather than resisting it. You know?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Or else you get these freaking pockets of like, when I went to Montana and they didn't know where Canada was. You're like, what? What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And they literally thought, like, the person I was with was trolling them, like, oh, we actually live in igloos. And like, oh my God, what's that like? And I was like, are you kidding me right now? Did you really think I'm in an igloo?
They do. Yeah, they do. I don't know why.
Not harping on Montana. I'm just saying, like, that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah, yeah,
encountered.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I encountered.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Yeah, there are people like that, but I mean that's where the internet needs to come in. And
Yeah, the great unifier. They say that, like, we're entering into the age of enlightenment. You know, like, that's what all the spiritualists say. Like, that's another thing. That's why I delve so deep into, like, spiritualism. I'm like, all right, you guys say that you have the answer to the life. Let me delve down this path and see what it is that you guys are talking about. And then I realized, like, oh, most of you are just selling things. Like, if I have the secret to life, I'm going to charge you an arm and a leg for me to tell you, and then just to find out you might not actually have the answer. You know what I mean? But anyways,
yeah.
I forgot where I was going with that one. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
you just need to educate wisely and proceed with caution. C'est la vie. All right. So, you got anything else?
No.
All right. Till next time.
Esports, here we come.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be an exciting future. We should definitely go to an esports match when they come to. I would just love to see it. It would be like a UFC event. It's like, is it really like awesome, or is it just like?
It's the same sort of stuff.
I know that.
But you're watching them sit on the computers, play the game, and
it'd be interesting though.
it's interesting. I mean, it's always better on the TV, or like on the screen
always.
to
Yeah,
watch,
of course,
right? Than like that's just how I feel. I'm rather be more comfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
I agree. But it's like, you just gotta see it.
yeah.
Because, like, again, the truth is salty. So we're gonna, like, take big bites of it and die with high blood pressure.
Okay.
That's why we go to the events. I'm saying.
Yeah, I
you
know that.
Yeah,
I know what you got.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So
All right.
until next time.
Cool.
Take it easy.
Peace.
Subscribe. Pay. Buy us stuff. Bye.
Oh, okay. All right. Bye.